Hi guys, in this video we're going to make a little cake topper out of modelling paste. We're going to do Mew, one of the Pokemon. So I've got some modelling paste ready dyed in pink. Now it's quite tough is this one, so I'm going to give it a knead to soften it. And I'm going to start with a ball that we're going to turn into a bit of a teardrop, and I'm covered in a black food colouring, I'm afraid, from what I've just been making. So we're working on the top of that, thinning it out a bit so the body's quite bulbous and then it goes into a bit of a point up at the top. And I'm just going to widen that out a little bit where the hips would be. Now I've just got greaseproof paper just to put it on so that I can move it around easily without it sticking. And I've got two little sausage shapes now which are going to become the feet, so keep them reasonably long. And I've just tried to thin them a tiny bit at the heel, and then using a modelling tool I'm just putting two lines in to create the toes. And just a little oval, again just of pink, just in the middle of each of those feet. And then I'm using a little bit of water on the back that we're going to stick it onto the body with. Now, if water's not working, you can use edible glue, that's fine. You might find, because of the weight of the feet, that they want to drop down a little bit, so if you rest them against something just while they're drying, and then you can remove any supports once they've dried. So for the arms, I've got two smaller pieces of modelling paste, so slightly wider at one end than the other. Just rolled them out. And then to make the hands, I'm just pushed in around the wrist and in between the fingers. And these look a little bit long, so we're going to trim them down a little bit. So when I've trimmed it, it's got a slight slant so that the shoulders will fit nice and tight against the body. And I'm just rubbing those shoulders into the body so you can't see the seam as much. And then for the tail, we want a nice long piece of the pink, keeping it quite large at one end for the far end of the tail. Now, I'm going to stick a wire through my tail because I want it position-wise to be up in the air. And you'll find on its own it does drop down. Now, if you're having it on the floor, you can just leave it without a wire and bend it to whatever position you want it in. So I've threaded that onto the wire, which means this one you can't really eat because of the wire. And I'll just leave it to one side now to be drying while I'm making the face. So for the face, I've got quite a large size ball of the pink. Roll it into an oval, and then we'll try pulling a little bit of a nose. We're rounding off a little bit underneath so that you can just see it from the front. Now I'm using a cocktail stick to push into the body for support. Again, you can use a piece of spaghetti, or you might even find you don't need anything here to add it to. Just gives it an extra bit of strength, just the cocktail stick. And because I've put a wire in the tail anyway, you're not going to be able to eat it, so the cocktail stick shouldn't matter too much. Just make sure if you are giving cake toppers to anybody and you have got inedible things in, that they do know. And we'll roll a bit of a cube in pink. And we're going to cut that in half diagonally to give us two triangles. Now these are just a little bit big, so we'll trim a little bit more off. Curve them slightly at the bottom where they're going to come across to the face. And then with a little bit of water, we're just going to stick these on to the head. Now for the eyes, I've got some white. Now I have got modelling paste again. You might find that you can use fondant for the eyes. And I've got a round cutter for these. So I'm just holding it against the face so I can see size-wise what it was like. Trim a small bit off the bottom of each of those circles, and I'm pulling the inside corner of each eye into a bit of a point, and then we'll get them positioned on the face, and then just a little line above each eye with your modelling tool. I don't know how well you can see that. And now I've got some ice blue, which I'm dyeing my fingers with. Roll it out nice and thin. Just going to use the same round cutter, and I'm just adding a little bit of water to each eye, but only to the inside corner. Don't fully cover the whole white bit. And we'll place these over so that you can just see a little bit of white at the far edge of each eye. And then I'm trimming the blue off so that it meets the line of the white underneath. And just make sure that's neatened off around the edges. You can only just see that. I think I've almost got it out of shot. So I'm going to paint some food colouring now directly onto the blue in the eye, keeping it up near the top. Now this is just the ice blue that we used earlier. So the thicker you paint it on, the darker it's going to look. If you add a little bit more water to it, it's going to lighten it a little bit. So we want to try and get it darker near the top. So I'll add a bit more sort of concentrated blue onto the top and bring it down so it becomes lighter as it goes to the bottom. And now we just want two white little ovals that we're going to push into each eye like that. That's his face done. So I'm just adding a little bit of water underneath, and I'm going to push this onto the cocktail stick. And like I say, you might find that you can push this on without any extra support, especially if you've got plenty of time to let it dry and set. And now for the tail, I'm just adding a little bit of water to the end, and I'm going to push that wire into the bum like that. So from the front it looks like that. Okay, so there it is finished. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I do have a few more Pokemon videos if you do want to check them out. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.